Have you ever wondered about what to do with the challenging parts or tensions within the Bible? In an interview with Pete Enns, a host of the Bible for Normal People podcast, this video looks at whether a theological idea that God became flesh can help us to make sense of these things. Can who Jesus is help us navigate a complex Bible? Then Pete and I talk about how engaging with the diversities of the Bible isn't about not taking the Bible seriously, but ultimately about looking for God in Scripture and seeking after what is true.
A concept that has helped me a lot in working through the Bible as a historical phenomenon with all its quirks, its weirdness, and all that kind of stuff. I'll even say its contradictions, its multivocality, as people say nowadays, all that kind of stuff, was the analogy between Jesus, the word, capital W, and the Bible, the word, lowercase w, that the way to think about maybe inspiration of the Bible is analogous to Jesus being the God-man, which is itself a mystery, which I'll never understand, and neither will anybody else. And if people say they understand it, I think they're lying or they're just ignorant. This is a profound mystery of the faith. And, the same way that Jesus is, okay, he's divine, again, whatever that means, but he's also 100% human. And you can't lose that. And I think evangelicals especially have trouble holding on to the humanity of Jesus and the serious implications of that. And if we look at the Bible under that analogy, it's like, well, it's divinely inspired, but it's also thoroughly encultured and thoroughly human at the same time, which doesn't make sense, but that's part of the mystery of the incarnation. And so this book, Inspiration and Incarnation, it's looking at the inspiration of the Bible by analogy with the incarnation of Christ. So I'm not saying the Bible is God incarnate or anything like that. I'm just saying it's an analogy to sort of help look at that. So when you look at Jesus and you realize, oh, he spoke Aramaic with maybe a little Greek and Hebrew, and he wore sandals, and he had olive skin, and he wore a robe, and he probably didn't know calculus or know where Canada was or know there was a Canada, right? He's thoroughly human, but that's not wrong, right? That's the way it is. Likewise, the Bible, when it has the marks of humanity, which are in every syllable of the Bible, it's not wrong. So if Genesis 1 is not historical, but it's Israel's version of a myth that was floating around, well, that's wrong. It's not wrong. That's human. That's what it looks like to have a human text. And Jesus was not a lavish monarch with chariots and things like that. He didn't look the role, right? But that doesn't mean he's less the Messiah, right? It's just we have to. I think Christians, at least in my circles growing up, in retrospect, I say this, don't grapple enough with the implications of the humanity of it all, and not only that, but how the humanity of it is irrevocable. It's absolutely essential to our understanding of the nature of humanity, the nature of Christ, the nature of the Bible. And that's been a big thing for me, and that's a big part of the book that stays with me, even though I wrote it, almost 20 years ago now. Hard to believe, gosh, 20 years, what happened? Where'd I go? I'm having a crisis. I'll be with you in a minute. Okay.
Oh, we're back. We're back. One of the things that I see in that is there's kind of almost a requirement to kind of to be open to how what we think about how God speaks sometimes needs to be like reevaluated. I
Right.
wonder, just for you, this could be whether it was the experiences in graduate school or sometime afterwards, what were the things that made you want to reevaluate them? Because I'm not trying to name here is that this can also, right, be an unsettling process.
Yeah, I think, this sounds really idealistic, and I don't mean it to sound like that, but I think what made me, frankly, never hesitate to reevaluate is because I only care about what's true. And as I see it, I mean, I don't see truth as it actually is. Nobody does. I mean, I have to find the truth. It's like, it's more a quest for truth. It's a quest for understanding. And whatever it is, it is. Whatever's going on in the Bible is going on. And that's my the fact that some things you find out about the Bible can like wreak havoc with your theology. The problem is not in pointing that out, but I'm truly on a quest for understanding and for truth. And I feel that regardless of what I find, I believe I find God there as well. Just God differently than I had in my own idol factory up in my head have conceived of, and that's a big theme, Scott, of the sin of certainty. It's when you're freaking out about something and you're shifting in your faith, that could be a big God moment too.
Hey, it's Scott here. Thanks for watching this Theology Lab video. If you're enjoying it, you can subscribe to the channel below and you'll get more Theology Lab videos as soon as they're released. The golden calf incident, which is has this two-sided feature to it, which is on the one hand, it's one of these passages that makes us wonder about the kind of character of God coming down the mountain ready to take away all the people. And yet, I'm thinking about something, Gary Anderson at Notre Dame said this, and he's drawing on a rabbinic tradition where he says, like, the full picture of God only comes between God and Moses, when Moses reminds God of the covenant in that instant. And it's funny, like, a passage that is in the one sense so strange is also a passage that is basically saying, if you want to get God here, you need to enter into the discussion and contribute, and somehow God will speak.
Yeah. Right.
I hear that it's complicated, but I do think that but there's also, I think, something that's pretty kind of inviting and maybe freeing for how we come to the text and bring ourselves in it.
Yeah, and put yourself in it. And how many times have we pleaded and argued with God, to try to get God to change God's mind about things? But that's the nature of the relationship, I think. And I like how, again, getting back to authority, the Bible models an alarming honesty with God. That Moses is, he wasn't the best leader, I think, up to this point. He had all these problems and didn't quite do it right, and he's got second thoughts and all. And now he's up and telling God what to do, right? It's a little bit interesting, but that story is one that can model for us something of, well, again, forgive me, this is the sin of certainty. It's arguing with God is part of the biblical tradition, and Job and Ecclesiastes and Lamentations and some prophetic literature, but also the golden calf episode. It's part of what it is. There's got to be something of value in that for us. And like you just said, Scott, it's just something that, we can, it's almost, we have permission to be real. That's part of the beauty of this collection of diverse texts. It's not just a pamphlet. It's not 10 commandments. It's narrative.